I'm wondering how they're going to really change in reaction to that one. Now, right away, we see an adjustment, at least just from the drafts from earlier, from IG. You know, they drafted the Legion Commander first too, and yeah, OG seems to understand that that hero seems pretty dominant.
Well, the thing is, after IG defeated OG at DAC, they actually had an interview where they said OG wasn't that hard after we banned out some of the strats.
Yeah.
So if I was OG hearing that, I'm going to come into this match with some sick strats.
Definitely need to be very prepared.
No surprise with the Monkey King.
And they banned out the Naga, which is, I'm assuming that's what they think is the strat.
Yeah. Or maybe they're just worried about it.
I wouldn't want to play versus OG's Naga.
I wouldn't want to play.
And OG don't want to play against Lina either. They had some big trouble with OP's Lina at DAC.
OP is, in my opinion, by far the best Lina player.
Agreed.
I've seen him at 4 minutes into the game. He's like level 5. He's 1v1ing your mid tower. He's tanking it. He's just hitting it. He's bottling up through the tower hits, and he just hits your tower. And eventually, they rotate on mid, and because he does that chip damage, he gets that tower.
Yeah.
And I think OP has impressed me the most out of any Chinese mid. He is incredibly good.
There's been quite a few, haven't there, broken through in the last, what seems like 12 months. That have kind of come to the fore, and he's definitely up there.
It's actually very exciting because for a while in the Chinese scene, they had this problem where they're like, there's no new blood.
Yeah,
there's
they're
no
just
new
rotating
talent.
the same
We
players
need a
around
Sumail. That's what they would say after TI5, right? And they started all these farming teams, they started these in-house leagues, and all of a sudden, XXS, Baboka, OP, half of IG are these incredibly good new players.
Yeah,
agreed. It's very exciting.
And speaking of somebody I think is the best at their role is actually the Magnus in XXS.
Yes, this is he's probably one of the best ones at the moment.
Is this the first Magnus pick?
It is, yeah, that we've seen on the mainstream anyway. I don't know about the other matches because we weren't able to see all of them, but first one we've had on the mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, that hero just does everything. Able to wave clear, able to team fight, BKB piercing stun.
Buffs your farming on your cores.
Magnus stopped being picked as much just because of his lane potential was so weak. What would happen is you would pick a Magnus, and the other team will go aggro try and match up your Magnus versus Legion or something like that. And you would effectively just want to Iron Talon the Magnus, because you just could not do anything versus them. Yeah. So it's interesting to see IG pick it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with, Empower now, and now they pick Juggernaut here, I think we're going to see, I don't know if it's going to go into the jungle perhaps, or, maybe, sack that off lane and see what they can do with it.
I do like the combo of Magnus Juggernaut. I mean, of course, everyone likes that combo. But like, to talk about what makes it good is Juggernaut's one of the only carry heroes who can just hit people for 3 seconds during Omni Slash. He has very low BAT, so these buffs that you apply on him are actually amplified.
You cleave through spin. Most people don't really use that, but
I played this pub. I played versus like 7.5k Juggernaut. He got a Battle Fairy. He cleaved off a wagon and 3-shot my Lone Druid. I was like, Magnus Jug is the best combo in the game.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, because you were telling me that Pugner Windrunner was the best combo in the game earlier. I'm a bit confused now, eh?
It will be when we play it, Red Eye.
Oh, okay.
You Windrunner, I Pugner.
No problem.
I Decrep, you Power Shot.
I got this.
What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
You can't reveal my secret strats on stream
sorry.
like that.
I thought that was just our strat. I didn't realize that was a proper strat.
But we're getting to TI with that.
Oh, okay. You might be.
So, seeing the Juggernaut, I expect OG to want to pick the offlane here. Generally, when you draft, you want to counter pick with the lane matchup. Juggernaut can go mid, but usually IG play him in the safe lane, and OP plays more of a magical damage core. So
you don't think this is a burning jug?
No, I do think it's a burning jug.
You do think
so?
Okay.
If you assume it's safe lane, you generally want to pick the lane that corresponds to that. They see the enemy offlaner and safe lane, so you're going to pick either one of your offlane or safe laner that wins the lane matchup. That way, when you go into the lanes, you're going to have at least one that's ahead.
Where does No Tail go then? What does he want?
No Tail or S4, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to pick off the offlane,
I think Axe is a good pick.
I think Axe, they like their Enigma a lot, though.
They do. I think that's what they're debating. They're like, they see this Axe hero who's good versus both.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, we get an Art Warden early. I'm a little bit surprised with that.
I actually don't know what happened in between DAC and now, but apparently a lot of teams are starting to pick up this Arc Warden, and I think it's a really good hero.
It was talked about at DAC. The players were chatting about it, theory crafting around it. So,
in particular, I know Faceless Black was spamming in pubs, and he was winning them.
Wow.
Yeah, so Black's most played hero over the last few weeks.
He got some big buffs. He has 2.8 strength gain on an Agi hero. I think that's the highest.
It definitely is one of the highest, if not the
I mean,
highest.
Like, Venge has 2.6, and I'm like, oh, this hero's so tanky. Or 2.3, 2.6 something. But Arc Warden is, that hero is beefy.
So what else does Arc Warden provide? Like versus Mag, you can have the Spark Wraiths around during team fights to try to stop his blink, get vision of where he is in positioning. You have your replicate, so you can like go out and kill the healing ward as well, so you don't have to do it with any risk.
I think what Arc Warden provides the most to OG though is he provides this like split pressure that they can use to find pickoffs. They're going to use their Monkey King Vision and their Arc Warden ultimate in order to just shove all the lanes in, and that lets them get these excellent fights under their vision or pickoffs to start a fight.
It's like typical OG kind of thing with like either their Terrorblade, their Arc Warden, their Naga. Just
I do like the Riki ban out of OG. IG have been running that Magnus Riki quite a bit, and it is scary. Triple Aquila and power.
Triple Aquila.
The Boca
Pretty
Riki.
strong.
One thing that's been interesting to me is that we've seen the Faceless Void played more in the safe lane now than the off lane.
Yeah, I think Universe played into offlane that one game, but the hero has been played I think 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
I don't
No
think
played
it's
it earlier
won
today.
though. Has it won a game?
I think
yet?
it
I think that
lost.
was the game they lost.
Yeah,
actually,
it
the
was,
first
it
game.
was the game they
Lost
lost.
every game.
It's like
It was also the game with Arc Warden in it as well.
Yeah.
that hero is sort of cool because teamfights is becoming very important. I mean, it always is important in Dota, but I'm not completely sold on the hero.
So
There goes
IG
the axe.
ban out the axe.
They ban out the axe, yeah.
That's a good ban.
Heroes that
It's a
can...
good S4 hero.
People think it counters the Juggernaut and the Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
You call Blade Mill, then power target, you have something through BKB for Jug.
So Ember ban.
Does that mean that the Arc Warden's planning to go mid then, you think?
It's possible, to
Thinking
be
it's
honest.
open.
I think they picked it this early just because it is open like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Ember is good versus Arc Warden in the game, I believe. At some point, he gets like an Orchid and a Lothars and he starts hitting you. But I think he's pretty good versus him early.
She goes for the Phoenix. They did this earlier, right?
Yeah, they ran it earlier.
Something that Fly said was something they thought was pretty good for OG as well. So I think we saw Fly play it once actually
I remember
at DAC.
Someone at DAC picked it to try to counter Monkey King.
Yeah, I think it was
Because
Fly.
you can out-team fight him and then you can use the dive to break the trees.
I'm pretty sure that was the game that OG picked it for Fly.
Was it Fly or was it... I know Liquid played Phoenix 1 game 2 versus a Monkey
You
King.
might be right.
I
as
think
well,
OG probably did it and won, but I know there was someone who tried it and lost at
Right.
DAC.
That might have been
I think
Liquid.
that was a Liquid game.
Okay.
I'm almost
That
positive.
sounds right, to be honest.
Because he didn't get Icarus dive either, I remember.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
He went like Fire Spirit Sunray first 2 levels, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's interesting.
Ooh.
I believe.
We got a
Or he
clock.
didn't use it, so okay, clock.
Okay.
So good to find the mag, isolate, stop the jug, split push, obviously the BKB piercing,
Clockwork
disable.
Monkey King is quite an annoying combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clockwork is generally good with these heroes that have these like big AoE ultis to follow up on him, like some Warlock, some Monkey King.
Wow, this is some 683 stuff. IG are busting out here.
Oh,
Phoenix
man.
Spirit.
This is classic OG,
That's it.
being played by IG.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, I remember back when I was on Cloud9, you know, No Tail definitely played a lot of Phoenix, but they were able to put it into the offlane. I don't think that happens so much anymore. And, for me, looking at Clockwork, that just seems like a comfort pick for S4.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, it's very good versus the 3 heroes that they had seen as well, and they get it. Okay, they get Anna's Invoker.
Okay.
All right.
So that reveals now Arc Warden safe lane.
I think the reason they're so comfortable picking Arc Warden is because we talked about this Magnus's issues with early laning.
Yeah.
And Arc Warden's not generally known as the strongest safe laner, but since you've already seen their off laner, they're comfortable picking this hero.
Right.
I like it though.
I like them
Pretty cool
picking
draft.
their. I like them picking their split push hero in the first 2 because what happened at DAC was the split pushers got banned either like first ban, one of them was banned out, then third, fourth they banned out the other 2, and OG got stuck in a position where they're like, we have to put no tail on very unorthodox heroes that we haven't been playing. So we got Baboka Earth Spirit.
We assume that Jerax is going to go Monkey King.
Yep, more than likely.
I
So
think
last pick on a Fly hero.
I think OG should probably ban Storm. I'm not too sure exactly what they're going to pick, but IG, I think, want a magical core mid. Ember's... Is he like the only real melee core with Magnus Jug that they would run? I'm not sure if there's anything else that uses Empower. But I sort of like Storm for them right now.
That's what they. That's literally like pretty much similar to what they ran as well at DAC. They did the Mag Jug Storm
And we're looking
Right.
for an OP hero, right?
tri-core.
So we look at IG's lineup. They have pretty cool team fight. Very strong team fight with the Phoenix and Magnus. They just need something that makes it very scary for OG to run around on the map.
How's Tinker?
I was going to say the Tinker
I was
looks
looking at
really
Tinker.
good, doesn't it?
He's a bit weak versus Arc Warden and Clockwork.
Yeah.
They're 2 heroes that can find him. Arc Warden can actually solo kill him quite easily.
That's true. That's actually a really good point.
That matchup's probably a bit Tinker favored, but once you throw into Clockwork and Sunstrike, I think it becomes Arc Warden
It's
favored.
nice the fact that they've got. Well, they're going to ban the
Storm.
Storm. So they ban the Storm.
Okay.
You'd assume IG go to Tinker route here for OP.
I think it is scary now
They
that
might.
you actually mentioned like the Arc Warden gets visioned with Spark Wraith.
Yeah.
They have Clockwork Rockets. They have Invoker Sunstrike. They have
They
a
have
lot of
Monkey
different
King.
ways. Monkey King,
Yeah.
so many different ways.
The thing is about these Chinese Tinkers is like sometimes they'll like pick Tinker, and the enemy team will pick Spectre, and you won't even know it.
Yeah.
Like, the Chinese Tinkers are so good. They're so far ahead of the Western Tinkers, in my opinion. And I haven't figured out why that is, but OP in particular plays a really great Tinker.
Yeah, he does.
He might go that route.
Very good.
Trying to think what other heroes that he really would.
So where do OG go here with their final
Maybe Crystal
draft pick?
Maiden?
It's a fly pick. It's
Definitely a solid pick here.
yeah. It's a Visage.
Silencer.
Silencer. Okay.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, that'll definitely counter that team fight aspect that you were talking about.
Gives them the like Clockwork goes in, follow up with the Global Silence. They have a real solid way of initiating.
Playing Earth Spirit versus Silencer is miserable.
Yes.
You roll in, you global, you die. He gets Q on you, you can't cast anything, or you take 1 billion damage because you use like 8 spells every fight.
Right.
There are 2 of OP's top 4 heroes left. One
Yeah.
is Tinker.
The other
One is SF.
SF, yeah.
I like that stuff personally. I think they need something beefy to stand in front. I think it's hard to play Tinker when you have no one to like bait for this RP or this Phoenix Egg. They could probably get away with it. Ooh,
Oh,
TA.
TA versus Invoker. Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
That works too. Okay, draft done. It seems pretty good draft for both teams, really. Conrad feels like they've kind of got what they like and what they want.
Yeah, I mean, if you're comfortable in those heroes, and I think, like you said, both roamers got 2 of the top roamers in the game. I was actually kind of surprised that neither of them were banned out. So
Interesting. Right, prediction time. Connie, we're going to put you on the spot.
I'm going to have to go with OG. I think they're just a solid team, and I really like the lineup that they have.
Okay, OG for Conrad.
I'll go with IG.
IG?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
I really like their team fight. I like how their lane matchups go. I think the Juggernaut versus Clockwork's a good lane matchup. I think the TA versus Invoker's a good matchup. I think the potential to snowball off that.
Okay, one for OG, one for IG.
I was going to go IG as well.
IG.
I think I like the way that
Okay.
they have the Jug in the safe lane. Gives their supports a lot of options to be able to roam around. Earth Spirit, Phoenix, not the 2 like strongest safe like supports, but you have a Jug to just kind of like be that dominant one there. So I'm going to go IG.
All right, good stuff. All 3, of course, will be back on the panel after game 1 of what, who knows, could be the Kiev Major Grand Final. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Haven't even done one game yet. It's IG versus OG. Who better to bring it to you than Toby One?
It may be the Kiev Grand Final. Of course, it was the DAC Grand Final, and now we get to have it all over again. We had this twice, in fact, in the last month, and I was wondering to see if the same OG would appear today. Like, it's very stable IG draft. I think we're going to go against that, but OG, they mix it up. We're bringing in the Arc Warden, which we assume is actually... Wait, where is it? It's No-Tail. It is safe lane.
Yeah.
It is safe lane, because we're tossing it up because Anna played it mid before.
Yeah,
And now
this-
they're actually pushing into the safe lane role.
There's a couple of things about this matchup. First of all, like you said, they've played before, so the teams know each other pretty well from recent times compared to a lot of other matchups in this tournament where teams are playing opponents they haven't played for like 2 or 3 months at the very least. Some haven't never played each other before. That's one thing. Should also mention though that IG looked very solid in their series. They got a very clean 2-0 win, I would say, compared to OG that did drop a game against SG eSports, who are considered one of the massive underdogs of the tournament. So based on that, perhaps IG and you could say might be in slightly better shape. But this is the big game. OG still won the series. Dropping a game in that series doesn't really matter. They get some more experience and some more understanding of their own picks. I personally am glad to see that when Arc Warden gets picked, it gets run in the safe lane this game. I think, in my opinion, the hero has a lot of weakness in mid lane because its laning presence is based on some very situational things, like Flux doesn't really work if you're next to the creep wave. Sure, if you can rotate and gank with someone, it's great, but if the counter gank is there, Flux is useless. You just have the other support back him up or whatever. Arc Warden's base damage is pretty weak for a mid lane hero.
So
it's
if
just not
you take him out of the mid lane and we look towards timing, because OG has always been a team which has always come with a plan. Like, it's like that 25, 35-minute win. How do you actually work that in with the Arc Warden? Like, what's his purpose to make the team work?
I don't think this is a 25-minute win. When I look at their heroes, this is more, they're more in it for the long haul in this one. And I think they might have made that decision just when they saw the Mag Jugger. Immediately they're like, okay, our chance of winning this game early is not that likely. The enemy team fight's really good. They have one of the early peaking carries in Juggernaut. So we want to play it slower and split up the map, because when you split up the map, that's when Magnus gets weak. He has has a harder time finding strong RPs. Maybe you get one pick here or there. But Arc Warden is a zero-risk split pusher. So is Invoker if he uses his Fort Spirits, and so is Clockwork with Rockets. You can keep pushing out the waves and forcing the opponent to play a bit more defensively and avoid those team fights. As far as the Arc Warden timing goes, I feel like if you put him in the safe lane more often, he will get a faster Midas overall. And this hero, to me, is all about getting that Midas as soon as possible and start ramping up.
Actually keeping my eyes on Notail's build as well. He's got
Ana is getting fried in mid. He almost died.
he's been being ripped apart by the side blade. So OP actually, like, he went away from both Meld as well as Refraction to try and get that extra damage into Ana. And Ana missed out on range creeps. They were denied as well in front of him.
I think OP hit him 7 times with side blades there. Something like that. That's pretty crazy. Forcing out a Flask minute 1 in this matchup is really, really good. Even a Tango has also been used by Ana, so looking a bit difficult for him. Bottom lane, S4 is in trouble here.
This is always going to be problematic for him. That PMS won't protect him anywhere near enough, and he can't get range, or can he? No, he cannot. The Cogs will push back for First Blood is spilled by Q. Both Earth Spirit and a Phoenix causing issues.
Now that we're looking at this lane, I want to mention what I think could become a problem for IG in this game. Looking at their picks, generally, it's something I've especially seen out of OG who play a lot of Earth Spirit. They like having a setup for Earth Spirit so he doesn't have to engage for them. You have like, they often play S4 on Clockwork or Axe or this type of hero, Centaur, we've seen. In this game, the only setup IG really have for their Earth Spirit is the Magnus. And that is blink reliant, and it takes time, and you don't really want to go for that one hero RP necessarily. Maybe you can get a blink skewer. It's a lot harder to play Earth Spirit as the primary engage. It's really, really difficult.
Speaking of his engage, he's already having another play down here with S4. Q can Icarus dive forward, the Cogs actually pushing him around.
Great Cogs.
Q knew he couldn't just jump into that.
They're pressuring him decently, but as is always the case with offlane Clockwork, in my opinion, his biggest strength as an offlaner compared to every other hero is his ability to cog the wave. Like, even if you have an awful matchup, you still get experience. S4 is getting tri-laned here. He's almost level 3, and both of the supports on the enemy side have been kept level 2 and haven't got, I think they've got one big pull-off so far. So not looking too bad for him, and of course, it frees up a lot of space on the other side of the map that he is keeping 3 heroes in check.
Rolling Boulder again on bottom lane, so the 3 are in check. Burning can't get close enough. He can commit the Mango to go for the spin, but when the Cogs just block your path, there's just no way forward, and thanks to the Illusion Rune that S4 had, Phoenix wasn't getting away that cheaply either. G-Rex is spending a lot of his time as well just harassing in OP. He only just hit level 2, and he tried to leech as much as he could from XXS.
It's slightly concerning, though, when your mid lane is going like this. Of course, TA has a massively favorable matchup in this, but it's still, even with Jerax helping out, OP is doubling up Ana right here. And when Jerax is in the lane, they're sharing experience. So Ana is going to lose out even harder in terms of levels. But right now, they probably feel like it's worth it just to get him the CS so he can at least get toward that more than likely early hand of Midas.
Yeah, if he can reach it in time. The biggest farmer is still going to be Notail. And that Midas timing you're looking at, he's currently walking around with a glove of haste, and he'll bypass the boots just because no one's contesting him. XXS came up here for a short period of time, but he's back to farming. He's hit his level 2, so now level 3. Second level up in Empower over the second point of Shockwave. So it's all about just stacking his camps and farming it. And this is what Jirax, like, his timing is perfect for this. He's here for the 4-minute bounty room, which he'll also steal from the Magnus, and a fair chunk of the experience. Middle lane, Ana, trouble, but Ghost Walk.
This is still... I think IG are more than happy with what's happening right now. Of course...
Burning, going for the spin with the Sunray. S4's trying to make a break for the tree lines, and he just can't do anything. The creep wave wasn't going to help him out there, and Burning just committed properly for it.
That is one issue that Clockwork will have with this item build. Actually, Poor Man's Shield is really bad against these 2 heroes. Obviously, it offers...
Ana.
Hang on, mid.
Yeah, he just had his clarity cancelled. The kick's going to be perfect. It's stun from Jirax, and there's not much more Ana could have done in that situation. The question is, can Jirax actually survive? He moves up, but the creep wave won't block it. So Baboka picks up a double kill. A big king of rotations. The big thorn on the side of OG at DAC. And he's still doing the same work.
Yeah, that's... would have been nice for OG to have some sort of TP to help in the mid there. I think they could have prevented both kills with a TP, even from Silencer, just to show presence. It might have scared IG off, and at the very least, they could have got a trade. But IG are playing very aggressively. It's paying off. And yeah, as I was mentioning in this bottom lane, of course, these two heroes alone can do very well against Clockwork. Clock often has a decent time in 1-on-2s, but they have so much magic and pure damage that they can actually, or actually, sorry, just magic damage. It has been changed, I believe. Yes, it has. Sunray is magical. Good. Don't see that hero too often, but they have plenty of magical damage to deal with this Clockwork, and Poor Man doesn't really help very much.
No. But S4 is finding levels still. Like it's not terrific, but once his level 6 will arrive, I'm expecting heavier rotation for him.
He has 20 CS. This is pretty... I gotta say, this is really good considering his start. He's died twice, but he's got a lot out of it.
Considering he's got more CS than the Invoker.
That's the bad news.
Yeah.
Ana, by the way, going for a double null build up here. I don't know how common this is on Invoker. I feel like I don't see this too often. Maybe it's the way you deal with this TA matchup.
We're going again on bottom lane. This time TP support's going to come forward from Jirax, and the stun comes too late. Q was able to get a full Sunray off. Jirax makes a break for the tree line. And Burning's not going to chase any further than that. Even with Phase Boots coming off cooldown, that creep wave is pushing into the tower.
This is excellent early game play by IG. Their movements have been really good. OG even have a ward down here, watching the side of the jungle. It's gonna expire in a moment in the Radiant jungle, but they still managed to find these rotations and find the kills. Both S4 now has died. I think that was his 3rd death, and they've killed Ana once in mid as well. So the only core on OG who's having a good time is No-Tail, and he's having a really good time though.
Yeah, 6 minutes and 40 seconds, that's when the Midas arrives.
Yep.
And that's also still picking up the Ring of Basilius. So we didn't just go straight for it.
We haven't talked too much about XXS either. Actually haven't really talked about him at all on this Magnus.
No-Tail's actually
found his level 5.
Middle lane, Anna's in trouble. Again, this 3-man maneuvering from IG, but No-Tail's trying to go ham against XXS. Does he have enough damage? The Spirit's down in that last attack. It does the work. It's the no-risk kill we've been talking about. So Q is the man forced to come to the top lane to defend.
Something we should mention as well is Arc Warden is a fairly micro-intensive hero. Like, even though it's only 2 units you're controlling, there's a lot of individual spells you need to cast on them compared to, say, a hero like Naga, where yes, you're controlling a lot of illusions, but they don't have any abilities. This is, in my mind, the perfect type of hero for No-Tail, who is a very, very mechanically skilled player when it comes to microing. Right up his alley, where he's played Chen, Meepo, those type of heroes. So a good archetype hero for the player, and so far he's showing good play.
Well, while it's kind of surprising, and I know the panel's probably going to be picking it apart, the difference between OG and one game running the mid Arc Warden compared to their safe lane, and like the completely different purposes as well of the roles. Like, you turn this into a split push game. Like, obviously No-Tail understands the rhythm of that because of all the games he's played with Meepo.
I would definitely be very surprised if OG tried to look for anything very aggressive as far as pushing tier 2s or base before 20 minutes. I just don't really see it being very possible for their lineup with this early game. One thing they're suffering from as well, I was mentioning it about IG, now that Clock is about to get level 6, they get a good engage, but as far as their lineup goes right now, it's just difficult to see OG engaging into fights, and that's why they haven't found these kills. It's not that easy to jump in any of these lanes. Invoker's matchup is so bad that Monkey King can't salvage it entirely.
Oh, S4's in trouble once again. He was just trying to stay close enough to leech his level 6, because that's where your engagement can come. That's when you have your hook shot. OP wants to try and run out of here. He's got himself a haste through, and Jirax can't escape from this. He has to stun the Sunstrikes on the way in, but OP still protected by his refraction. Orb of Venom not doing anywhere near enough work.
It's this nice Radiant ward toward the bottom lane that is spotting the movement of S4, so even hiding in the side didn't work out for him because they did see him move in there in the first place. Yeah, this does not look good for OG. This is not the kind of early game you want to have against a lineup with an off-lane Magnus. You know, if you're losing the laning stage this substantially to a lineup with Magnus, you just know, okay, well, if you can't make the aggressive moves in the next 10 minutes, guess who's going to be farming? It is the Juggernaut, the TA, and the Mag, all 3 of them will start racking up items.
And OG have experienced that many, many times before,
yes,
especially against Invictus Gaming directly.
It almost seems like a mental play to pick Mag Jug again.
The first two. Well, we were looking at it. We're looking at the draft going, okay, well, this is going to go exactly the way that last series went. S4, again, being forced to run away, burning. Doesn't actually have the ultimate available, so S4 is just being pushed back out by the Sunray. Maybe a little bit too far forward there from Q, but he still backs away from the creep wave.
I'm a bit surprised Burning didn't try to go for that kill with Blade Fury. They might have been worried about a counter rotation, but Clock is still not level 6, so they don't even have that hook shot for the stun.
Oh,
he might just get killed by OP instead. He is dead.
It's a sad, sad world when you're this Clockwork. He's now 0 for 5.
He's still... Okay, so his first few minutes, the first 3 minutes where he died once to get level 3, and then he had level 5 by, I think, about 5 or 6 minutes with a decent amount of CS.
Top lane.
Everything has fallen apart since then.
No, can't jump in far enough. The Sunstrike's actually going to be almost on mark. The last attack from Notel will find the kill once again, so XXS, the only 2 kills that OG have achieved so far has been on the offlaner of Invictus Gaming. But this can turn into a push. But thanks to the Dire Observe Ward they've got down, they understand support was rotating in. So the Spirits are in the tree lines, and OG, they almost throttle this into a choke point if IG want to defend it. Okay, there is no choke point. The Spirits are just everywhere. This is contamination of the Radiant side.
One of the really big strengths of this hero is how you can cover angles, and they also have Monkey King to scout out these angles, so they can push fairly confidently here, and IG seem to understand that this is not a tower they should try to defend. Unfortunately, Notel does not get the last hit there, but the tower falls. That's a clear advantage in their safe lane compared to the opposing one, where Burning is trying to get the tower down to half. That's one thing S4 did accomplish down here. He died a lot, but he protected his tower in doing so. Oh, there's a hook shot. Global.
Yeah. Going down to bottom lane, the hold him in position, the Sunstrike connects, and Burning will fall. Jirax wants to go for a little bit more, jump up, then into the spring, trying to slow down Q. Unable to actually do so, because support was too far away, but this will turn into a push now on bottom lane.
That's how fast you can get your Clockwork back into the game. Level 6 is the turning point, and they delayed it so well. I'm very surprised this Clockwork didn't find his level 6 until I think minute 10:30-ish was when S4 got it. Very, very slow by his standards, but finally get some space here.
At the same time that happens, like you get the hand of Midas over on the Invoker, OG start forcing buildings, Q, it's no tail, it's the no risk again, tail in through the rear, Phoenix can't even get his egg off, he can't even dive away, but the kick from Bobica, perfect, Jirax is controlled, now Fly under the control of the spin. S4's cogs cannot create enough space for that one, in fact they can't do anything when he's in that spin.
I still think OG, despite trading 1 for 2 there, it's important that Ana gets some space, really. They're trading it for a bit of space top for the Magnus, but I think overall the approach of trying to pressure IG a bit and not letting them sit back is good. They just need to not overextend too much. If this game just slows down and everyone is farming, I feel like IG will be the ones who will have the more successful moves.
Shot perfect on the mark. Sunstrike will connect. Notel was starting all that one up with the haste rune he picked up before.
Damn, Flux just seemed to burn through that refraction really fast. I'm actually not sure how often it deals damage.
It was actually like incremental.
How many instances it is. I've played Arc Warden once in my life. Was not very good at it. Didn't really enjoy it particularly much. Pressed a lot of buttons with my Necrobook. Had no idea what I was doing.
Just let the illusions push down the lane. The minion came,
press
right?
the buttons, get an ultra kill. What did I just do? That was that time. It's a bit different now.
That was the start of Arc Warden when he came into Dota.
The hero is different now. So I'm not sure how many instances this Flux deals, but it definitely, if you look bottom at Burning, it looks like it's dealing once every half second, I would say. Something like that. So you can very quickly get rid of these refraction charges from OP.
And now Notel can actually do like solo pushing. And because he's adding this pressure, Fly's getting more space up on top. We've got another hand of Midas in the quick fire, rolling boulder forward. A little bit of trouble for Jirax getting caught in the tree lines. He's actually going to go into the Wukong command with the Sunstrike. Bobica's going to fall. Now you got the Phoenix egg down. Unfortunately, Wukong command not that OP that it can help kill off the Phoenix egg.
Surprisingly, Jirax didn't manage to finish the ward. I think he might have been hit by a Fire Spirit and he canceled his attack because originally he came up there to D-ward and now he didn't manage. At the very least, they know there's a ward, and trading there for him is great. Like he was completely done the moment the Earth Spirit rolled on him. So even just managing to turn that into 1-for-1 is very good. So what's the status on this game right now? I think overall IG are still, they're sitting on a slight lead as far as the graphs go, but from a game plan perspective, I would like to see IG try to push a bit more on some towers. This bottom tier 1 tower, I think, is up for grabs, at least.
Are they actually looking to push? Because normally, like with
Burning,
mid lane, they wait.
Oh, good hook shot, though.
Can they actually hold them back with the hooks? The cogs don't do enough work.
This is going to cost them a tower as well, because now they use global and hook shot to try to save him. So this top tier 1 is down. Notail did manage to get a trade off bottom. He already has this very quick Shadow Blade. Arc Warden in the past was played a lot with Necrobook, but the common build nowadays is going Midas into either Shadowblade or Maelstrom, and then the other item. And then you will generally upgrade both of them into Silver Edge plus Mjolnir, just because of how insane your clone gets. Having these 2 Mjolnirs, one of them being, like we talked about, the risk-free clone. It's 180 gold you give away if you die.
Yeah.
It's manageable. It's very powerful.
With the Arcane Rune as well, he's just managed to pick up. Push, push, push. So he's going to TP back in towards the mid and go for the next tier 1 tower. It's the last tier 1 tower remaining for IG.
I think IG should just go bottom right now. Global being on cooldown should be enough for this Juggernaut to be able to poke and prod that tower down if they have the backup. Magnus has his Blink Dagger. They haven't used RP yet this whole game. I believe the Phoenix Egg is now up, Supernova online.
TA is still 1,000 gold away from having the Desolator, so...
Might push for T2. Oh, this is a very, very good mischief by Monkey King. He's in a great position right now. If
he's the fake tree.
Yeah, that is not a tree you will notice.
Oh,
will
he
you?
noticed it!
Oh,
the silence, he knows it!
You know, it takes a monkey player to find that tree.
Yeah.
So of course Boboka will find it.
I think Boboka actually even used that exact tree during the DAC finals. Well, that tier 2 tower is gone.
So the master is still the master.
Yes, he is.
Very, very nicely done there by Boboka. That's so big. It secures them at tier 2 at no cost. Basically, all of their spells are still available. OG, I think Templar Assassin wasn't even there for that push.
No,
she was
she's
just farming Ancients.
She's farming a Deso.
Very, very efficient usage of the map by IG, and just these small details make such a big difference.
With that Desolator up now, can IG actually take Roshan, or is OG still going to be too much either on the split push or even with the contesting of Roshan?
They have really good heroes for messing with Roshan. They have Rocket Flare, they have the Spark Wraiths of the Arc Warden, Monkey King can sit in the trees. Probably not advisable right now with how Boboka is playing this game, but you know, if he doesn't even see you jump there, maybe you're safe in that tree. So I think it's a bit difficult right now for IG, but what they can do is they can try to go for a smoke rotation, find any core pick, and do a very quick roast themselves. But I don't think you just flat out go in there.
Well, they went for a smoke. It's a 4-man smoke in the mid lane.
Yep.
There was no vision from the Radiant side.
This move kind of has to work for OG. If this doesn't work and IG
either pretty grouped up,
pincer them or outmaneuver them, then...
The only thing that's not there is the Magnus. He's still up on top lane, and he's farming up his own hand of Midas, so we're really going to rack and stack up the Midas. But they sense it coming. The Radiant scan happens just on the mouth of the river. But the person they're going to find is Boboka. Fly gets the reveal. Global Silence is up, but OP is the better one if they can kill him. Hookshot forward. S4 up towards the Ancients. That's the better target. Killing off Burning. Jirax ready to jump in again. Boboka can actually jump up the hill. In fact, it's going to be a 2-man stun into the Wukong command. IG, they'll fight from the high ground. OP will have to do some serious work here underneath the egg. They're able to bring down Fly. A skewer forward. It's Notail who's on the run. Creates a copy of himself. And do they take the bait? The RP is out. They find the real one. You've still got the copy of Notail trying to kill off Q. It won't work when the bonus damage is there. The Sunstrike, they all avoid it. In fact, they were gathering up together just to make sure they wouldn't be hit by it. And Invictus Gaming, a 3-2 trade-off. It was 2 supports and a core from OG. But they took that entire fight without burning.
Exactly. It's very impressive decision-making that they choose to go in for this the moment. You know, other teams, I think, in this position will just be like, okay, cut our Juggernaut, let's get out. I think Earth Spirit was in a position to just flat-out disengage, but they still see the opportunity in combining their spells of the Earth Spirit and the Phoenix, as well as, of course, the threat of the Magnus. OG can't really move in as a group in this clustered up area next to the shrine, so they eventually have to just concede heroes to OP.
Does Anna have? No, he can't.
Good attempt.
There's Boboka, he found him again! Jirax, he was hanging on the trees, but again, you must respect the master of the king.
Boboka's playing an exceptional game. I don't
expected nothing less.
I don't really have much else to say. This Earth Spirit performance is outstanding.
Notail trying to go onto the Magnus. The Sunstrike's coming in. XXS! S4 actually gets him with the Clockwork Rocket, level 4. It did just enough damage to send him over the edge, but now the jump forward. Fly gets evaporated with the blinking Templar Assassin, but he's trapped out. The Cold Snap and Deathling Blast. Refracting Charge will give him a little bit more life, but S4 hookshots in behind. They'll burn the Aegis Immortal and trap in Boboka. He's let the Magnetize rip. Notail's got a little bit more damage, but as TA, he's actually jumping up after Notail. Jirax, there's not a lot he can really do now. He doesn't have the ultimate. Another Maelstrike will do that work as S4 running away from the tier 2 tower. Like just the burn that comes from the Phoenix. but that wasn't enough to survive either. Invictus Gaming making the most out of that Aegis, getting the upper hand, and now they'll take the tier 2 tower.
This is a very nice sequence of plays from both teams here. I think that first kill was on the Magnus was really beautiful with, I think it was an Arc Clone, a Sunstrike, and the Rocket all connecting at the same time, just barely getting that kill. Even, you know, setting that up and having the right idea and executing that is difficult, and then IG come right back at them with very nice rotation here overall. And the big kill here is Arc Warden. I think if OG want to have a chance at winning this game, they need this Arc Warden to get really, really big. And these 2 deaths slow him down a lot. Relative to other heroes, because of how dependent he is on this Midas, just being on the sidelines with this Arc Warden, it hurts twice as much, it feels like, whenever you have these long death timers. And IG are extending their lead, I would imagine. 10,000 experience actually at this point, and 7.5k net worth. So
it's arcing up, but you've still got a lot of ways where OG can go for the quick picks and go for the split push once this full Mjolnir is up. But it's taking time.
It is, and they're very dependent on S4 delivering at this point. It feels like the hook shots needs to land. If they miss a couple of hook shots, the fights are just so difficult to take. N0tail is doing what he can with these Shadowblade plays. They're obviously very well done, but it just seems like at this point IG will just be getting more out of the map. They've taken 2 tier 2s. OG have only taken 2 tier 1s, so they're 2 towers up. They have Empower, as I've mentioned a couple of times. Just it's something you can't just ignore. It's a big part of the equation. IG just farm faster. And when it comes to super late game scaling, I don't know who I'm favoring, honestly. I think both lineups go very well into the late game.
That just makes some more entertaining games later on. IG are pushing in the bottom lane. N0tail's trying to go for a little bit of a play onto Q. The Sunstrike's coming in. Q, he walks right into it! Oh, Anna hits the mark, gives N0tail yet another kill. Burning is still keeping up with this. He's staying on the front lines. And OG, they'll use the fortification only because it's going to be refreshed anyway when the tier 1 tower goes down. But Jirax, you can see just how cautious he is. Burbica, if he tries to play this right, will work out exactly where Jirax is. They don't have a ward up on the hill, so they do not know. But there's your hook shot in. Jirax, Wukong commander's out. It's a good stun to the Magnus. Removed from the field. A good tornado combining up with the Global Silence. Burning, able to get the spin off. Do they have enough damage to kill him before the TP will complete? Yes, they do. Burning will fall, and OP's on the run. The BKB has been triggered. It's got 1 more second before it'll actually time out, and now they can focus him down. Keep the stuns, keep the control. Phoenix back in with the egg. Surrounded by so many, but no one's attacking it enough. Or will they? Yes, they will. Fly will get rid of it. They'll move on to Burbica. Magnetine's causing issues, but not enough for OG to actually drop. All 5 players will survive, including Jirax on 65 HP.
That might have been the limit of how aggressive IG could play. They willingly started pushing up toward this tier 2 tower with 4 on 5. They knew the Phoenix couldn't connect. And in addition, this ward from OG just doing a lot of work. The ward they have in the side basically have a Tinker ward on their own side that Monkey King could use to set up together with the Clockwork. Basically set up that entire play, and IG were just not ready for that. In the execution, OG on defense, their lineup is amazing because of this. Once again, if they get this jump in, their follow-up is just insane. They have so much damage and control. And well, if you have warding like that, you're going to hit.
Yep. But it'll change up a little bit more once XXS is able to finish up his Shadowblade. Because then you've got the Invis maneuver towards you.
We have seen surprisingly little from XXS's Magnus compared to what he can do. So that's something OG have managed to do very well. Yeah, he's definitely, you know, in comparison, he has like 3 times the CS of the Clockwork. Of course, Mag will be out farming Clock, but that's quite a bit this early into the game. As an offlaner, to have 125 CS is definitely more than average.
It's surprising to see Burning actually so low in comparison. Like, TA is an extra 4,000 in front, but when you've got that Empower buff up, which was leveled up pretty early, Burning just was never getting the buff.
Yeah, they weren't really connecting and using the Magnus to its full potential. I would definitely agree with that.
But that's what you're asking for, right? Like, you wanted to have them split the game. You wanted to have OG split it up so IG couldn't do this.
Yeah, they might have felt pressure to constantly go and defend their lanes and deal with the split push. If XXS is on that duty, obviously he can't connect as well for the fights. But now that he has the Shadowblade, things change. Because now, if OG try to split push with anything else than an Arc Clone or these Invoker Forges, he can find a pick. And even like RPing and killing off any core should give them at least the tier 2 tower bottom. Because they push really damn fast with these 2 Empowers and the Deso, and even now double damage on TA. She is ready to go. Just need to find an opportunity. How much did OG pull back there? Wow, that was a really big swing.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a 5-for-0 fight, but that's 5K net worth and a good...
The experience cracked down from
10K?
12,000 to, 4,000.
That is a dream fight for OG.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And they can get momentum now. That hand of Midas is almost done over on Jirak, so he'll have his shortly.
And the Mjolnir on Arc Warden is a really big deal.
That's actually 4 Midases. The only one from OG that doesn't have a Midas right now is S4. And that's because he's building Lotus.
But I thought we nerfed Midas. I mean, we kind of did, but still. It seems it's still very good.
Oh, Sunstrike trying to kick in again as the No-Tail clones. They're just doing as much damage. And you even get the BKB out of OP. This is now down to 8 seconds. We're 25 minutes in, and you're down to an 8-second BKB.
This is Arc Warden territory right now. If the game plays like this, that is exactly what OG want in their lineup. It's generating so much space for the Invoker and gathering a lot of information. I mean, it's one thing if you don't pressure them away that much with the Arc Warden clone, but if you just spot 2 heroes with it as a scout, Ana knows exactly how he can play. He just needs the information, and he's farming the enemy jungle. And this is against a team that were kind of destroying them 5 minutes ago. Their jungle is being farmed by the enemy mid laner.
I just find it so amusing that you can go from one game where Ana's playing it to such a synergistic combination between Ana as well as No-Tail. And this is just like the second game, you change something up and then the combo just works.
Definitely feels like this safe lane Arc Warden has been
Practiced.
much better than the 2 mid Arc Wardens we've seen so far.
Yes.
Right now, there's a Force Staff coming out for No-Tail. He's also reached level 18. Really big deal for Arc Warden to get these key levels. The lower cooldown on Tempest Double and the longer duration means now the effective downtime of Tempest Double is 22 seconds only. And this is before he gets his cooldown reduction talent. We might even see him get an Octarine later. I think that is a viable build on the hero as like a 5th or 6th item. But for now, the quick buy is the Silver Edge. Nothing really to break here, though. It still just deals so much damage.
Observer and Sentry planted down, so again, Jirak's on the job to do the Tinker Wards. It's just a No-Tail copy on bottom lane causing problems for IG. Now, Jirak isn't going to be able to fight where he wants to, unless he just wants to try and creep skip this out, and it's actually going to be a 4-man smoke from Invictus Gaming. They did it pretty close to the bottom lane, but just still out of range of any vision.
Really good vision here.
It looks like they're just going to let it go.
2 defensive wards.
Everyone's missing. OP's pushing so aggressively
Yeah, this
that
is
they have
fairly
to realize
obvious.
something is up.
This is fairly obvious. It's a good read from OG. Their wards are just contributing to making this very obvious. They even have an aggressive ward at the top area. They have one in the Tinker ward at the bottom area, now placed by Jerax.
They're missing the time. If Jerax can actually slam this wave down, one creep being pulled back in again. Okay, Sunstrike right on top of OP. And he stands his ground, but the damage. OP dropping down low. Q has to give him a little bit more life, and they got one creep that will keep the backdoor regeneration off.
These are some important tools against Arc Warden, though, that we haven't talked about. Arc Warden often, when it gets to this mid-late game situation, starts forcing heroes back to base by just going on them with the clone. They have Healing Ward and Sunray, so it was a good attempt there to take down the TA, or at least force the BKB, but she stays cool under pressure and gets healed up to full easily there by Burning. Tower will go down. Oh, looks like they've isolated Burning here. That's a big kill.
Perfect stun from Jirax. Holds him there, keeps Q out of the mix. So no Burning for 50 seconds. He's down, and Roshan just spawned up. This is the best timing OG could have asked for.
They can still lose this fight if they're not careful. Both lineups are exceptional at fighting at the Roche pit. So what OG need to do now, if they have any wards, they need to get one good ward out covering this left side of the pit. That is what is happening just now. That was a sentry. I think they might be out of observers, actually. So they're feeling a bit cautious about this because,
they still have the deep observer ward down.
They do have the deep one. But if IG take any other angle than this one, which they don't, so...
That was just in range, and they knew it. S4, the cogs block him out, the perfect Wukong command, and Global Silence. Phoenix having a hard time getting out of that, but it's a little bit further up towards the Roshan pit. S4's not a healthy man, especially when Fly gets hit by the meld. Roshan's low, they're going in. Bobrik the perfect kick, the RP, and then the hook shot. It doesn't actually connect onto the Magnus. OP's going to triple kill, and this is it. This is IG taking Roshan from under the nose of OG. Without even having really the Juggernaut there.
And the reason this is even possible is that both Invoker and Arc Warden are in the Roshan pit. Else this engage that Jerax manages to set up with the Wukong command and I think there was a global on top of it.
Yeah, it was.
Pretty sure.
There was.
that is kill potential if the other heroes of OG are in position, but they're obviously doing the Roshan, so they have to make a choice there, and unfortunately for them, IG managed to survive through the global silence, and the hookshot misses, then there's nothing left.
They're committing for clones, but only 4 staffs and just a little bit of extra damage. Notel trying to slow this up as much as he can. It's OP who's the immortal one, so Burning doesn't have to take all this extra damage. Now there's a full Bloodthorn onto the Templar Assassin.
How are we looking as far as detection goes on the Radiant? They actually only have Dust on Phoenix, because if you want to kill this Arc Warden, I think at this point in time, your TA with this Bloodthorn is able to easily solo up the Arc Warden. You just need to find him and have detection. But they're fully reliant on Phoenix being in that play. I would like to see some detection come out for Bobuka. He's had super good reads this game about enemy team movement. And if he could read Notel just once, he will die without buyback, and that's at least 1 lane of Rax. There is no way they can defend without this Arc Warden. He's way too big a part of their net worth right now.
Well, for now, he's still looking towards that Lotus Orbs, but he might be able to just move back and pick up the gem.
Yeah. Wouldn't be a bad choice. I think when you're in this position where you have the Aegis, you've taken all the enemy tier 2 towers, and you have probably a fairly good idea of where OG's vision would have been. You can go and clear out a couple of wards, and then if you don't feel comfortable carrying the gem around any further, you can just send it back to base and save it for later. But I agree. I think gem would be a solid pickup. But for now,
it's just the standard. Get back into your lanes, stick as a group, and let XXS do his work. Like that double RP, the first time we really see it get a really good land, and it comes at the perfect moment.
It's pretty impressive when you think about it, right? That was the first real RP we've seen the whole game. And I feel like we've only seen Omnislash once by Burning, which was super early on in the lane on a kill on Clockwork. So despite not really getting that much value out of those 2 big ultimates, they've still managed to win these fights against OG. That shows how much the support duo and the TA have been managing to accomplish here.
It also gives a lot of credit to OG. OG, it was one of the big things. Like, you win your winner's bracket final, and then you lose the grand final. Like, this is the type of thing is like, okay, these guys actually worked this out, and in the manner they lost, the 3-1, it was pretty brutal to say the least. And OG had to learn from it. And their positioning has definitely gotten a lot better. Trouble. A lot of trouble. Silence is down and the skewer back. Oh, if only it was a real one.
Not better positioning from Fly that time.
No. you praise him and he gets cursed.
Classic. Wasn't that 3-0? Was it 3-1?
It was 3-1.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain it was 3-1.
I thought they got cleaned out. I could be wrong.
Actually, they might have been cleaned out.
I think the winner bracket final was 2-1.
The 3-1 was TI in every single major grand final was always 3-1. Maybe that's where my brain's going.
Apart from TI3.
Apart from TI3. We don't mention that.
No, nobody remembers TI3.
No.
That wasn't that important.
No. Actually, the one we all try and forget is TI4. That Sunstrike right in the mark. OP's going to get hit by it. 4 staff back out.
Do they have healing ward? 40 seconds, actually. Okay, so this is a good hold. IG will not be interested in pushing up with a half HP TA, and they could burn all of their urn charges to get her up to like 2/3, but rather just control the map a bit, wait for next healing ward, maybe look for pick, and OG are hungry here, but they're gonna get jumped.
S4, does he have enough life to survive this? Almost, he tried to go for a point blank range hook to keep Burning under control.
I think he actually wanted to try to hook Fly, but they didn't have enough time to communicate it, or he felt like he was blocked, but it's worth a try, right? If it fails, you're still dead for the duration of the cooldown.
Well, more copies. Spin goes out. The RP actually gets completely wafted. XSS doesn't hit anything, but the big stun from Jirax with the global silence now being triggered. Notel wants more damage. The damage is good on the Magnus. The Sunstrike won't be able to connect. The extra clone of Notel getting dealt with by Invictus Gaming, but heavy damage, and now, again, with no healing ward, not a lot of life, they are going to retreat.
Rare complete miss from XXS. Also, OG are doing a good job at positioning correctly here. For this type of defense, you want to form an arch around your tower. Try to split out, like at the periphery of a circle, basically. So if Mag really wants to commit for an RP, maybe he will get one, but it will be on 1 hero. And I think maybe XXS was trying to get 2, or he overshot his blink because they had a big enough distance to the tower. And because of that, like you said, failed it completely. And that is the end of the push.
Notel's still hunting for this kill on Q. Like, Q's able to dive himself away, but he wants the kill so Notel can finally have the silver edge and be close enough to having buyback.
They just timed out.
Okay, he'll just take it without buyback. All right.
Oh, he got a skewer top here, XXS, but
Sunstrike's coming in with the creep wave
trouble.
and the cold snap. Deafening blast is keeping Juggernaut out of the fight. Magnus will end up surviving. OG can't say the same. Invoker plus Monkey King dropping down.
I think XXS, did he break the trees with Skewer so Monkey King fell down?
I believe so. The line looks
He
right for it. It's either that or
definitely
Force Staff.
He was definitely stunned there in that tower, under that tree rather. So that's 2 good kills for them. There's a minute on the Invoker. This should be enough time to reach the mid-tier 3. If Notel's in a good position and has Tempest double up though, that you're already buying 13 seconds with those 2 magnetic fields.
Yeah. But the push on bottom lane. I suppose you got the BTs on TA.
Yeah, TA can connect. This is a good item choice. It's necessary to have Boots of Travel against this hero. It's pretty annoying to play against Arc Warden at this stage of the game when he has this kind of fun. Let's just put it that way. IG are doing a good job at dealing with the pressure.
Oh, S4,
burning.
the cogs. Actually, Isolate burning. Templar Assassin's going to blink herself in, getting mana burned up a little bit by the cogs. Now another hook shot in from S4, but the RP! XXS hits it perfectly, skewering him back into 3 with the Omni Slash. OG get evaporated. OG, world of hurt under their tier 4 towers. Everyone's going to be pushing up the daisy in a second. Silencer will have to bite back, but what do you do against this? The Invoker's up in 3 seconds' time. That's one advantage you have, but you're about to lose your mid-racks. Fortification only delays the inevitable.
There's no Arc Warden.
Yep.
He has buyback on cooldown for another 25, so maybe if OG play this exceptionally well, they can defend the second lane, but I don't know if there's time for it.
18 seconds.
Tornado EMP is down.
Anna's trying to delay it as much as he can, but you can see IG, they're just going... They're going for the jugglers, just the melee racks if possible, and they've got him.
Yep.
So OG will have to accept the fact they've just lost 2 lanes of racks.
They will also be forced to buy back the Arc, I think. IG are not going to stop until they get this buyback out.
Anna's
Nice ice
trying
wall.
to slow him down. Bobica, there's your rolling boulder forward, doesn't really find his target, the quick silence. Anna trying to do his work against that Earth Spirit, but the tier 3 tower's gone. There's your buyback, Sunstrike is right on top of burning the hook shot, flying in from Ezreal, trying to cut the field again, letting the Wukong's command do its work. The deafening blast, you can say goodbye to the Juggernaut, Templar Assassin as well. Both down, both do have buyback. So OG unable to really punish here.
If not
But
for
they
that,
lost everything but their range racks.
If not for that last magnetic field, that's Megas, but Notel did manage to save it. Still, this is difficult.
To say the least.
It is difficult.
You committed 2 buybacks to hold this.
You committed 2 buybacks to lose 2.5 racks, basically. Or was it 2
S4's
buybacks?
going for
Oh, it's
more.
only 1.
He's after Q. He's actually at the Radiant Secret Shop at the moment. The Sunstrike's going to be able to connect, so you'll actually lose Phoenix. S4 doesn't just stop at the status. In fact, Anna with the push, they might be able to at least quickly force some buybacks while Arc Warden does the other push. Either that or they go for a full-on
I think
attack.
the wise play from IG here is to buy back neither core if they can hold. If they can just delay.
Except the Rax loss?
They could accept the Rax loss, I think. That's one choice. Burning is up in 20. They might be able to hold. They have Supernova. All right, they're
There's
actually
the
going to buy the TA. This is a bit risky because if TA dies now, they
nice double
could
stun.
lose out.
Jirax, there's no real follow-up. The Tornado's just keeping him up in the air. And OG's got the choice. You've got 2 buybacks out now. Obviously, you're in a terrible position. But what do you really do here?
Now you camp and hope that TA makes a mistake.
Bobica, he's coming out. S4's got hookshot available. He's also gone disco with that Mjolnir on top of him, but with the BKB and Global Silence triggered, OG, they back up, but XXS, what's that positioning? The Sentry Ward's down, so they saw him for a quick moment. S4 still in the middle of this entire fight. He has to force up himself over the cliffside. The Phoenix Egg is down. He'll connect onto S4, so he's got no way to escape. This is a double kick as well. Notel and Jirax being caught out by this, and Notel just trying to stand his ground. Remember, that is just going to be a copy of him. The real one's coming in from the north, but Jirax, that's the real version. IG, claim him out. Notel on the run. 4-star, quick TP, IG, they're not going to see him in time. The TP out is successful, and OG are on the retreat, but Roshan is alive.
Shows a lot of confidence from IG to chase into the jungle there. Like, if you look at the risk-reward, right? They're at their side of the map, the wave is pushed in toward their base. If this play fails and TA dies, they're at risk of losing 2 lanes of racks themselves because she just bought back to defend the first one. That's why I was suggesting, and I think this is something IG actually did at DAC, in a game, I believe, against Alchemist, or with Alchemist. I can't remember. It was against OG, I believe, that game. They decided to concede a lane of barracks. I believe it was actually. I'm sure 1437 can talk about it. Is he on panel now? He is not, I believe.
No.
Okay,
No,
'cause I think that was part of his really long analysis on that one game. That sometimes it's better to concede a racks over using the buyback because it's almost the only win condition for OG here is to kill TA, force her to not have buyback, and kill her again.
Well,
you know, if
she's
you're
down for 5 minutes. But then again, you just got Roshan, you just got the Aegis, the Immortal on her, so she's got that extra life to work
I think they're
with.
good to go. The thing here is, if this fight fails and she's down for 2 minutes, they have all the waves pushed in, and now they didn't lose the barracks, so for OG to come back the other way takes a significant amount of time.
They need some vision, though. Like, without the vision, they can't get this pick. And with the smoke maneuvering from S4, it's going to break. And OP, thanks to the Observe Wall that's on the hillside, has very clear vision of S4. XXS is on the hunt again.
Do you want to hear a prediction?
Is it going to be good or is it going to be terrible?
I think this game ends with an RP.
That's way! There goes one, and they find Notel. A quick jump in. Notel's gone. 84 seconds down. No extra help for him. Wukong's command is powerful, but not that powerful. Burning will move up into the spin. He doesn't actually have his Omni Slash, but it won't matter. 2 heroes down for OG with no buyback. OP waits, lets the Mail Strike fly towards Anna. Actually doesn't do enough work. Anna might have enough space. No, he's alone with no friends inside his own base. That's GG. Game 1 goes the way of Invictus Gaming.
Very nice play from them, and like we were talking about, this was even. It didn't even feel like, to me at least, that everyone in the team played an amazing game. I think it was 2 or 3 players that had outstanding performances. Magnus maybe a bit slow in the start, picked it up toward the end, got a couple of key RPs out. Burning probably not fully satisfied with his Juggernaut performance in this game. I think he made a couple of key mistakes when pushing towers that got him caught out and killed, when maybe he could have got an Omni Slash off or at least a spin. But still, despite all of that, it looked really commanding in this game. That's got to be worrying going into the second game for OG. They had that one good fight at their bottom tier 2. Apart from that, in my opinion, they just got destroyed.
Yeah. Man, it felt odd, but at the same time, like, you had to know what you're going up against. Like, you knew what happened at DAC. You're sure that Coach Sebastian was picking through all the replays. It's like, so how do we approach this team? You still willingly gave them the Jug as well as the Magnus at the start.
Yep.
You picked up the Monkey King, and at least it stops Bobica from playing that. But you saw how great he is on both Earth Spirit, on the Monkey King, on the Ricky. There's all these options for him.
I don't think you can ban that player.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that's the approach you should take.
But they tried to, like, it was a block pick, right?
Oh, OG also like Monkey, but yeah.
It felt rough. It felt rough for OG. Will Game 2 be any different?
Yeah, good question. Thank you very much, Toby. We'll come back, of course, to our commentary team for Game 2. But let's break it down on the panel right now with Conrad, with Ali, and, of course, with Fog. Fog, we'll start with you. How do you assess the game overall in the way that OG sort of capitulated in that game?
Yeah, I think OG seemed to be a bit caught off guard, but I think IG, at least, they won 2 out of 3 lanes pretty dominantly, I would say. And OP takes, like Ali was mentioning earlier, OP takes the mid tower extremely early. The same thing kind of happened in this game. Burning left the safe lane very early again, goes to top lane. They claim map control very early. They get early blink daggers, but Boca, I mean, this guy was everywhere on the map, making all the type of space that the Magnus needed to get that blink dagger. So it's, I mean, just an overall very commanding performance from IG.
I think it was a pretty dominant performance from IG, but what I was actually very impressed with was that OG seemed to pull these miraculous team fights out of nowhere. Even if they lost that one at Roshan, the one where they zoned them out with the Monkey King out and Cogs, that was amazing. Yeah. I look at the lineups on paper and I say OG has no business touching them in fights. Right? They should have to split them up, try to pick them off. Hopefully they get lucky with some stuff. You know, they had some cool plays with Sunstrike, Clockwork Wall, kind of Arc One illusion on the Mag. But they played the fights amazingly, and that gives me hope for the next game for OG.
Yeah, I definitely underestimated, IG there, I think. Especially Q.
You're sitting in the cursed 4th seat, Conrad. You're fine. It doesn't matter what you predict. It's going to be wrong anyway.
No, I definitely underestimated the power of the Phoenix that game, and Baboka Earth Spirit should just never be underestimated.
Yeah. This is like some old school OG draft right now, Phoenix Earth Spirit. This disgusting stuff from last year.
Yeah, exactly. And XXS on the Magnus, I mean, he got those RPs. That third one, the 3-man one at the end there was phenomenal.
And I love how XSS played this game, because we saw he whiffed one in her base. Or maybe Anna made a great play and blinked out of it. But that didn't stop him from going for these big plays anyways. He would consistently go in first. He would consistently find these good RPs in spite of like missing one. And he didn't let that unsettle him. And that's the hallmark of a great offlane player right there.
I was going to say, because sometimes when that happens early in the game, it messes with your mind, because you start thinking, oh, I can't miss the next one. Or I've now missed 2 in a row. I can't miss the next one.
Even worse is when you go, I need a bigger one to make up for my miss. And you're like, okay, wait for them to be 5. Wait for them to be 5. When all your team needs is for you to RP their carry and just drag them out. So that was a very solid performance by Magnus.
Yep. And I mean, OG put up a fight. Fold, it wasn't like they just rolled over and died and gave up the game. They tried to make a comeback, even when it looked almost impossible. But again, IG just decided to take this fight in their own jungle towards the end of the game. That just was, I mean, pretty risky, right? Because I mean, the lanes were pushed in, so if they mess that up and they lose a couple there, that could have been game for OG.
Just confidence, though. I mean, they
Very
just
confident,
felt
wasn't it?
extremely well. Yeah, they just felt extremely confident going into
Yeah.
that. I mean, XXX Mags, like, this guy is actually just so impressive on it. Like, after that start, he had a couple, like, got a little bit of rough start, but then it just, I don't know. I just, like, honestly, it's pretty ridiculous how he gets those type of things. Because usually we see the Mags, they don't want to be the one starting. But this guy always seems to be the one starting the fight as the Mag, which is, it's just something else.
It's giving them a few headaches, isn't it, for game 2? There's the scoreboard. It shows the story of how IG won the opening game against OG. They continue where they left off from DAC, continuing to beat OG to claim potentially the #1 spot in the world, of course. They've got a long way to go here at the Kiev Major. It is just the second round so far. But MVP, I mean, you've already mentioned him once. There is only one MVP, isn't there? Despite the fact that Baboka again was fantastic.
Yeah, I think XXS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
All agreed?
Empowers a good ability.
I mean,
Conrad,
I'll say
come
this. It
on.
really, I mean, it helps everybody on the team. So that's how you get that MVP role.
Yeah.
You know, he makes the big plays with the, you know, the RP, but at the same time, he's able to empower Burning, which just allows him to farm better, play better, and gets everybody working on that.
he was also empowering OP in the mid lane, too. So even though TA versus Invoker is really tough for the Invoker, plus an Earth Spirit, plus an Empower, like, that makes it super difficult for poor Ana.
XXS as the MVP for game #1. Well, what do OG take from this? They'll obviously learn a lot from losing more than they would from winning, obviously, but they need to transfer that around. They won't want to lose this and then go through Swiss a slightly different way and potentially get a much harder draw later on.
I think maybe they could do, like, a little bit stronger lanes, maybe not so greedy with the way that they position their lanes as well. Like, having, like, the Invoker was kind of left on his own because who's going to go really help him in this one? The Monkey King wants to, but he was trying to, like, mess with the Mag. He was trying to get, like, sap the experience, and then